सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। नारायणं परमभवं शिष्टं शक्तिं च तत्पुत्रपराशरं च व्यासं शुकं गौडपदं महान्तं गोविन्दयोगीन्द्रमथास्य शिष्यं श्रीशङ्कराचार्यमथास्य पद्मपादं च हस्तामलकं च शिष्यं तन्तोटकं वार्तिककारमन्यानस्मद्गुरुन् सन्ततमानतोऽस्मि। यत्साक्षात् सच्चिदानन्दं प्रत्यगद्वयम् अक्रियं तन्नमामि नरसिंहस्य योगिगम्यं परं पदं हानिलाग्ध्यं स्रक्फणीव उद्गतं यथा ध्वान्तच्छिदे नमस्तस्मै हरये बुद्धिसाक्षिणे श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। Okay, so mantra varnacha 18th. So 17th verse we finished. Said what? So amnayasya kriyartatvat anarthakyam ito anyatha iti satopam aha uchchaihi vedavid jaimini swayam. So jaimini maharshi swayam aha satopam and uchchaihi vachaihi. What amnayasya kriyartatvat? Because the entire amnaya Veda is meant for kriya, karma. Therefore, that which is not meant for karma, meaning itaha anyatha, which is not meant for karma, that is futile. Anarthakyam is purposeless. So, further, he says one more reason. What is that? Oh, before that, just a couple of things there. Oh, I have to look up where the word is. First one, kalanjam na bhakshet. There, I had mentioned this kalanjam. Generally, it is quoted in the context of onion also. But the main, this thing kalanjam is the vishayukta mausa. But it is also quoted for onion. So when I said nishiddha, onion is nishiddha. There may be another vakya also, but this is quoted, kalanjam na bhakshet. It also means a particular kind of mausa, vishayukta. So what is short and all that. So that's one clarification. Another is there was a word. What was the word? Yogya anupalabdhi. Yeah. So it's for the pratyavaya. There was a word somewhere. Where was the word pratyavaya? So abhava giving rise to pratyavaya. Bhavattu paraya pariyara prarabdha sukitama paraya adevakshaya. Nimitta. Where was it? Okay, I don't know where it had come up, but if you remember, there was a, let me look up some other time and show, but the sandarbha is, pratyavaya dosha will be there. If you don't do nityanemitika karma, then there is a pratyavaya dosha. And the Purvapakshi said that do not raise a doubt as to how abhava rupa pratyavaya. Abhava rupa meaning karma abhava, nityanemitika karma abhava is abhava rupa. Pratyaya is bhava rupa papa. How can there be bhavotpatti from abhava rupa? Karma abhava, how can it give rise to bhava rupa? And to that he had said that yogya anupalabdhi. Your yogya anupalabdhi. So I just wanted to clarify with that anupalabdhi. Anupalabdhi is a pramana for Vedanti, for a Karmakandi Kumaril Bhatta also. But the pramana, the way it works, I had mentioned that anupalabdhi is absence of something. Bhutale ghato nasti. How do you know? So we say it is adhikarana rupa, bhutala rupa, and that's a different pramana than pratyaksha. Now there is a visheshana yogya anupalabdhi. Why yogya anupalabdhi? So I wanted to clarify there why he has said yogya anupalabdhi, because we say anupalabdhi pramana works only when there is yogyata. Somewhere, so the example given in the Shastra to explain this is, let's say someone says, what in this, the village stories where you look at the a vriksha and say there is no Brahmarakshasa here, or there is no Pishacha here. Pishachaha nasti. Asmin vrikshe Pishacha nasti. So that is not anupalabdhi. Bhutale ghato nasti. Ghata is pratyaksha. And now bhutale ghato nasti, the pratiyogi for abhava of ghata is yogya. is pratyaksha yogya. There alone the anuplabdhi pramana would work. Therefore, yogyata has to be added there. Otherwise, if you say anuplabdhi of pishacha, pishacha is not indriya gochara, is not pratyaksha. Therefore, if the abhava pratiyogi, the pratiyogi pishacha in this case is, if it is not yogya, then this anuplabdhi pramana is not valid there. So there, just wanted to clarify that yogya shabda there, which I had not mentioned, I had not talked about. There was a word yogya anupalabdhi. So okay, that covers the past. So now further in the verse that we are looking at, mantra varnacha. So it is introduced now as to what Tikakara says, Veda vachanadapi evam ityaha. He says it is not only Jaimini vachana. Jaimini vachana, the Karmakanda Purvamimamsaka Acharya Jaimini, who is well respected by Vedantis also. In Karmakanda, he is the authority. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. So that Veda vachana anusari Jaimini pramana is not the only pramana. Veda is also saying the same thing. It is shown. Veda vachanadapi evam ityaha. You have no other way than karma. Not only Purvamimamsaka Sutrakarta, Jaimini Maharshi talks about it, but the Vedas also say that. Where do they say that? Thereby the Mulakara says mantra varnacha iti. Mantra varnacha in Mula. And due to the mantra also, mantra varnat means sakshad shabda. Mantra shabda itself says that. What is that? Kuruvan neveha karmani jijivishet satagum samaha iti mantropi nishesham karmanyayurava srujat. So swara in this, so it comes back in Isha Upanishad, there is a swara shatagum samaha there. So kurvan eva iha karmani, kurvan eva iha karmani jijivishet shatam samaha. So shash choti, we have got chakara here, it is shankar shakara, talave shakara. Iti mantraha api nishesham karmani ayuhu avasrujat. So ava a srij. So ava purvaka srij. So kathayati ityartha. Ava srij said, akathayat. Who mantra? Mantra also said. Which mantra? He quotes the Ishavasya Upanishad mantra. Second mantra. First mantra is Ishavasya midam sarvam ityadi. And second mantra is Kurvan neveha karmani. So nicely the Purva Pakshi has ignored the first mantra and directly come to the second mantra. What is the second mantra? He says, Kurvan eva iha karmani, iha asmin loke. Or in this Vishaya also. Karmani kurvan neva. Shatranta kurvani shatranta. While doing karma alone. Jiji vishet. Jivitum ichet. Desire to live how long? Shatam samaha. Samaha are years. Shata is 100. So wish to live 100 years. How? Not just like that, not merriment. Karmani kurvan neva. While doing karma alone, you should desire such a life. I want a long life, but I want to travel the world. I want to enjoy. That is not what the life is meant for. It is only for karma, says the Shruti. Vaidika karma. You continue doing karma, wish to live long, 100 samaha. So it need not be exactly 100, more or less. But if you desire to live long, that desire should include doing the karma. You cannot say, I will not do karma, but I want to live long. You cannot give up karma. So if the Shruti says, Karmani kurvan neva iha asmin loke shatam samaha jiji vishe jivitum ichet yakaschit in Prathama Purusha. It is telling you, the listener, you, the listener, wish to live 100 years. Although it is said in the Prathama Purusha. It is directly addressing the person. By saying indirectly, it is still saying like, Bhavan kutra gacchati. That's a shaili. So Bhavan kutra gacchati. Bhavan is a Prathama Purusha. Therefore gacchati, Prathama Purusha. But it is talking to, you are talking to the person right in front of you. So it's a particular style in language. So iti mantra api, this kind of mantra, Isha mantra, is also saying the same thing that Purvamimamsaka, Sutrakarta, Jaimini Maharshi analyzed and mentioned. So we told you Jaimini's vachana, but it is not that, it is his own vachana. Shruti says that. And mantra pi what? What did it do? Asrujat, avasrujat, akathayat. What did it say? It stated karmani ayuhu nishesham. It stated of this kind of an ayu with respect to karma only. Nishesham. Cannot leave the karma. So Anvaya would be what? Karmani iha karmani kuruvannev shatam samaha jijivishet iti mantraha api nishesham karmani ayu avasrujat. All that can be same. So Tika further says mantravarnacha iti adhyatma adhikare patitayam mantraha mumukshoho api nishesham ayuhu karmani karma anusthane eva avasrujat. Utsrishtavan, meaning what? Viniyuktavan. Kathayati, basically it's a vidhi. So it viniyoga. So when you do japa, you say in this karma there is viniyogaha, jape viniyogaha, puja. In that so viniyoga is you connect what activity you are going to do karma. That karma you connect with the phala or what you are going to do. So vachika karma in what? Jape viniyoga. That vachika karma has connection with japa. This is a japa. That is the connection. So you make the sankalpa like that. Similarly, what Shruti gives you that viniyoga, karma, it joins you to karma. Viniyoga vidhi karma. Karmani viniyogaha. So viniyuktavan, mantra viniyuktavan. So the mantra has connected. That is the meaning of avasrujat. Utsrushtavan and then viniyuktavan. Mantra viniyuktavan. Mantra has connected whom? So it says mantra mumuksho api nishesham ayuhu, not who, what. So nishesham ayuhu. Ayush is a napunsakalinga. So in Dvitiya also it will be having the same form. So karmani means what? Karma anusthane, karma vishe. So karma anusthane, in the karma anusthana, practice of that karma, eva, indeed, only with respect to karma, it has a say. What is that? Connects the ayu. You want this life, then this life is going to be connected to the karma only, not separated from the karma. You won't have a life separated from the karma. You should not. You should not even wish such a life. So you should wish a life which is connected to the karma, and that is the viniyoga made by mantra. Therefore, it is pramana as to say what? Mantra varnacha. So my interpretation, says the Purva Pakshi, Purvamamsaka, is in keeping with Jaimini Maharshi and in keeping with the mantra of the Shruti. And this Shruti, where is it? He says it is in Ishavasya Upanishad. So it should be desirable to the Vedanti also, who does not care much for anything else. He says, although it is in the mantra, karma kanda, he says it is adhyatma adhikare patitaha. Ayam mantra kutra patita? Adhyatma adhikare. So there, now the funny part is that he is saying adhyatma adhikare in the section of adhyatma, knowing the self. That is Vedanta. Vedanti says that, look at it, in Karma Kanda, Mantra Bhaga itself, Adhyatma Adhikara is there. It is talking about, so it is in Swartha, Mukhyartha. First mantra. Second mantra is a concession for what? Those who do not understand the first mantra. First mantra is pure jnana. Ishavasya midam sarvam, yat kincha jagatyam jagat, tena tyaktena bhunjita, ma grita kasya dhanam. So, there, Ishavasya midam sarvam, this entire prapancha is vyapta by Paramatma, Ishvara, Jagat Karta. Just like Ghata, Mrut Ghata is vyapta by Mrut. The entire Ghata is nothing but Mrut. Similarly, this entire prapancha is nothing but Paramatma. When you have this drishti, then where is the dhana, whether others or mine? There is no differentiation like that. There is no, you cannot crave for dhana. I want more of this, I want, it's very, dhana is an upalakshana there. Whatever Vishaya one wants, that is all Paramatma. You are not separate either because you are part of that world. So you cannot be separate. So everything is Paramatma, you are Paramatma, the Vishaya is Paramatma. How can there be Vishaya Vishayi Bheda also? Ekameva Dvitiyam Ityartha. So there cannot be any craving for anything really. Should not be. Therefore, that is the first mantra. Those who do not understand that, it's very subtle. So how can that be? First, the mind questions, how can, hey, what is this? Makes no sense. Says, okay, you do karma. Live 100 years, do karma. Only then you will understand the first mantra. That's what it means. Does not say do kamya karma. Says do this karma. So here the Purvapakshi is going to explain as to it is not only the second mantra. There are other mantras. First mantra and second mantra is a segregation. Ishavasya is one of the most difficult Upanishads. It is Mandukya is 12 mantras, but there is so much elaboration in Karika. Spreads across 4 chapters. Shortest Upanishad, but quite a large section of Karika. However, Ishavasya Upanishad has 18 mantras, 6 more than Mandukya, but there is no help available. Without Karma Kanda, without Purvamimamsa, Ishavasya cannot be understood. Cannot, I mean, not a possibility, cannot be understood at all. So much is there. It just takes for everything for granted. When he talks about karma. So Purvapakshi knows all that. So he says that, he brings up everything in a single mantra. It is not only single mantra. For first mantra also, there are 3 other mantras which are saying that you do samuchaya of these. And for second mantra also there is a samuchaya. 3 more mantras. So out of 18, I think 9, 10, 11 and 12, 13, 14. So 9 to 12 mantras are elaborating one section. Then 12 to 14 are elaborating another section. So as per many commentators, the second mantra karma is elaborated with samuchaya in 9, 10 and 11. And 12 to 14 elaborates the samuchaya of the first mantra. With karma really, which karma, what kind of samuchaya, all that will come up. It's not saha samuchaya, it is krama samuchaya. So here, Adhyatma adhikare patita ayam mantraha mumukshuhu api, for mumukshu also, karmanushta nishesham ayu avasrujat. Nishesham ayu. Nishesham means complete ayu. You live a full life. 100 years is considered as a full life as per Vedas. Divide into 4 ashramas, 25 each. If you look at it, an approximation there. Then that entire 100 years is fully lived. How it ordains that you live this full life for the mumukshu. Even for the mumukshu api, not only for any Tom, Dick and Harry. Each and every person, even one who wants to get moksha. So mumuksha is moksha ichu. What does he have to do with karma? That is the question in the Siddhanti's mind. Purvapakshi says for the mumuksha also should wish to live 100 years. How? Doing karma. Karma anusthane eva avasrujat utsrushtavan viniyuktavan vai yavat jivam karma eva anushteyam iti darshitavan ityartha. So elsewhere there is a Shruti in Karma Kanda, Yavat Jivam, Agnihotram Juyat. So this is saying nothing different. Your Upanishad is saying nothing different, says the Purvapakshi. Yavat Jivam, as long as you live, Karma eva anushteyam. Eva kara, not jnana, karma alone. And then we'll give some concession as to jnana also, let's say, okay. Piggybacking. You do this also, but karma alone will give moksha. Jnana you can just add, some flavor, upasechanam. Achar dal do thoda. But main dish is karma. That will fill your stomach. That will give moksha. Darshitavan ityartha. That is the 18th shloka. Evam tatparya abhavad vastuparata iti uttara shloka tatparyam aha. There is a certain discontent in reading this line as it is. So there is a tippana here. We'll interpret this vakya based on the tippana. Otherwise, it's not making much sense there. So tippana says, evam tatparya abhavat vastuparatvam vedasya nirakritya sampratam siddhartha avabodhane samarthya abhavad api padanamna vastuparata iti uttara shloka tatparyam aha iti chandrika patha sa eva atra bodhya. So what should you understand by this segment? The meaning should be appropriate. And what is that meaning? Chandrika says, the other tika, evam tatparya abhavat. because there is no tatparya of the Shruti in non-karma. Meaning what? Siddha Vastu. Jnanakanda Siddha Vastu Brahma. Vastuparatvam. Tatparyabat Vastuparatvam Vedasya Nirakritya. Therefore, this Vastuparatvam, Siddha Vastu, Brahma Vastuparatvam Nasti. Karma Paratvam eva asti. Sampratam. Currently, what is the section doing here? Siddhartha Avabodhane Samarthya Bhava. Since the Shruti cannot be talking about Siddha Vastu, it cannot be giving you jnana of a Siddha Artha Vastu. Brahma is already Siddha. Brahma is not going to come up like Adrushta. The way karma brings up Adrushta, Brahma means you really. Siddhanti will not argue to this point. Siddhanti says Brahma means I, aham. That is why to Bauddha he says asanneva sabhavati. One who says Brahma nasti, asanneva sabhavati. Not eva, but we have to read it as eva, as though non-existent. Although evakara is there, Bhagavan Bhashyakara says Atma can never become asat. Sat is its sarupa. So asanneva sabhavati, asanniva, as though non-existent. If you deny Brahma existence, then it is like denying yourself existence. Because just because the Purvapakshi Bauddha, Nastika, does not understand Vedas saying Brahma and you are one and the same, and he denies Brahma, does not mean that he'll become non-existent. He'll remain Brahma. Even the Bauddha is Brahma. Just because he's a Nastika, no, you will not be Brahma. Only Astika is Brahma. That is not the case. Atma is Brahma, whether it is in Nastika, Prani, or Kita, or Bhagavan, or Rakshasa also. Atma is Brahma. So if the Bauddha says Brahma Nasti, he will not become non-existent. He is Brahma, whether for good or bad, whether he likes it or not, he is Brahma. So when he says Brahma Nasti, Asanniva Sabhavati, not Asanneva, although mantra says we have to understand as though non-existent, because he is saying I am not there. He does not know that he is saying I am not there. Of course, Shunyavadi will not care. I am not there. He is happy with it. He says Ishtapati. Yes, I am not there. So Bhagavan Bhashyakara says there, Poda. Puja Swamiji would say in Tamil, Poda. I mean, what are you saying? I am not there, then whom am I talking to? It is like say, Mama Mukhe Jivha Nasti. It's a Asad Vachana. We don't value such things. There is no point in arguing with it. Whom am I arguing with? Why are we debating? You are not there. I won't even look at you. So you see through the person. But you can't do it. Can't do it. Because what? Compassion. So Bhagavan Bhashyakara entertains up to a certain point and then says, enough. You say anything and everything because it is Ishtapatti to you. Does not work. It is illogical. It is against the Shruti. Not only it is illogical, makes no sense. It's Vitanda. So you just let it go after a certain time. However, here what? Evam tatparya abhavat vastu paratvam vedasya nirakritya sampratam siddhartha avabodhane samarthya bhavat. Because Shruti has no capacity, or it is not focused towards describing an entity which is already existent. To give jnana, it is not the tatparya vishaya at all, and samarthya bhavat api padanam na vastu parata. Then these padas that you are talking about, vakya, pada here, in the sense of put together becoming a vakya, they don't have vastu parata. They are not committed to revealing this Brahma which is already there, Atma. Iti Uttara Shloka Tatparyam. That is the Uttara Shloka, 18 Shloka Tatparya. This is how Chandrika reads it. If we see our Tika, Bhagavan Chitsukacharya says, Evam Tatparya Abhavat. Evam means in this one there is no Tatparya in discussing this Brahma which is a Siddha Vastu. Vedas are not committed towards or tuned towards that. Then Vastu Parata. Vastu Parata na should be read. So na would have been good. Vastu Parata. How can there be Vastu Parata or Vastu Parata Kutaha? So you have to read some kind of an Akshepa there. Iti Uttara Shloka Tatparya Maha. So we did not read the entire this. We have to understand from the Chandrika. Here you have to say this is an Akshepa. So Evam Tatparya Abhavat Vastu Parata. Vastu Parata cannot be there. Evam Tatparya Abhavat Vastu Parata Nasti or Kutaha Katham Sambhavati. Iti Uttara Shloka Tatparya Maha. It cannot be. Therefore what? The next shloka is introduced by saying Jnaninascha iti. So Bhagavan Vartikakara says Jnaninascha Vastuni Vakya Pramanya Abhyupagamat. Vakyasya cha Kriyapada Pradhanatva Tatascha Abhipreta Jnana Bhavaha. So Jnaninaha cha. Jnaninascha kim? Vastuni, Vastuni, Brahmani, Atmani, Brahmatmani, Vakya Pramanya Abhyupagamat. So, Purva Pakshi asks the Siddhanti Vedanti, do you, as Jnani also, or whoever is Jnani in your case, Vedanti, Jnani, for you, is Vakya, Veda Vakya Pramana or not? We'll say, what kind of a question is that? Our entire Vedanta is based on Vakya only. We don't have any other source. So, yes, of course, we agree. So, do you agree that in the case of Vastu, Brahma also, Atma also, Vakya alone is Pramana? We say yes. So, since Jnani, for the Jnani also, there is Abhyupagama acceptance of Vakya as Pramana. So, Vakya Pramanyam asti. Vakyeshu, Vedanta, Vakyeshu, Veda Vakyeshu Pramanyam asti. Iti Abhyupagamat. Kasmin Vishe Vastuni. Brahma Vastuni, Brahmatma Vastuni, Brahmatmani Vastuni, Jnanina cha Vakya Pramanya Abhyupagamat. Heto, iri hetu. This is hetu. Now this is one part. Second part is what? But we have already explained. Vakyasya cha kriyapada pradhanatvat. You accept that Vakya is Pramana in the case of Vastu also. One. So first he says, he puts you in a comfort zone. You agree with this? Yeah, I agree with this. Now he is locked. So lock kar de. So it has been locked. Now you can't change the answer. Now he says, okay, Vakya sacha I already shown you. Vakya what? Vakya sacha kriyapada pradhanatvat. Vakya is committed only for the any Vakya. Any Vakya, including your Tattvamasi Mahavakya, there the kriyapada is there. Kriyapada pradhanatva. Vakya, basically what Vyakarana would also say what? Vyakarana will say, Ekating Vakyam. Kriyapada, the verb. Verb is pradhan in the Vakya. You cannot analyze. That's why anybody who is studying Sanskrit, they understand cases and Sanskrit sentences are written any which way. They can be written any word anywhere and still they'll make the same sense. Has to make the same sense. The problem is that when students are studying, they don't understand whatever word comes first, they understand that first. And this is the case with many students, even teachers, many. They start by analyzing the sentence by the first word that occurs, then second word, third word. That is not how it should be. Verb should be the first to be seen. Akanksha should be raised. Gacchati, kaha gacchati, kartari prayoga, kaha gacchati, rama gacchati, kutra gacchati, vanam gacchati. So all this akanksha has to be raised. Slowly you build up. Then you see when you read the Vakya, it makes sense if you are used to it. Those who are not used to it can't make sense out of it because they see the first word and they misinterpret the case also. Then the connection with the Kriyapada is not known. Similarly here, the Puravimamsaka, for him Vakya is not Ekatinga Vakyam. Puravimamsa says Vakya means what? One complete unit. Whatever has the Tatparya complete, that is one Vakya. Eka Vakyata he'll say. So whether it is one Vakya here with one Tinga and another Tinganta Pada somewhere else, he'll connect those two. He says, what is the Phala talked about here? What is the Karma talked about here? If there is a Karma without Phala in one sentence, there is a Phala without Karma in another, Adhikari talked somewhere else, he'll put all of this together. And there are many, Pramana units there. So he'll go through all of that and put together it, whether it is in the same section or different section also, he does not care. If they have Ekavakyata, then that entire thing is catering to one Tatparya Vishaya, that is one Vakya. That is Purvamimamsaka. Uttarmimamsaka, same thing. Uttarmimamsa will say, yes, I agree. I agree with this because Mimamsa is what? Pujita Vichara. He has analyzed well, why should we do it again? We also follow the same process. We say, yes, this is how the Ekavakyata works. In Brahma Sutra entirely, Ekavakyata, Purvamimamsaka is countered using his own tools, Ekavakyata, and we say that this is why where there is Ekavakyata, what is committed, which mantras are committed towards Upasana, whether these Upasanas are different or one section. As to Vedanta, we say that entire thing is one Vakya, Ekavakyata there. We'll separate this as with Ekatinga Vakya also, Mahavakya also is separate. Avantar Vakyas are separate. But when we look at the entire whole, Tatparya Vishaya is one. So Purvamimamsaka perspective will also work. Vedanta is committed, entire Vedanta is committed towards only one goal, which is revealing Brahma as Atma. That's all. Nothing else. So there is a Ekavakyata across also. So we'll look at a different perspective also for Ekavakyata. Now here he says Vakyasya cha Kriyapada Pradhanatvat. Vakya, what is Pradhana in Vakya? Kriyapada. Why does Purvamamsaka say Kriyapada is important? He analyzes the Kriyapada and brings in. Those who have not studied Artha Sangra, for them it is important. So there is a Arthi Bhavana, etc. So they say that in Tinganta Pada there are divisions. So what is the dhatu there, which talks about the kriya? Then what is the pratyaya there? Pratyaya is vidhiling or late lakara, which is in the meaning of vidhiling. So there is a vidhi hidden there. So to understand the vakya, you have to understand pada. Vakya avodhane kim karanam? Pada jnanam. Without knowing the words, you cannot understand the vakya. And if you know only the words and you don't understand the vakya, because vakya bodha, there's shabda bodha. Shabda Praman is what? Shabda Bodha. What is Shabda Bodha? Shabda Bodha is not Shabda Sambandhi Bodha. Only Pada Sambandhi Bodha. It is Vakya Bodha. It's a Paribhashika Shabda. Shabda Bodha means what? You understand the entire Vakya. That is Shabda Bodha. That is Pramana. Now, this Shabda, that is Pramana, that is Prama, Jnana. Shabda Bodha is Shabda, not Shabda Jnana, but Vakya Jnana. That is called a Shabda Bodha. Now he says, how does the Shabda Bodha take place? Vakyartha, how does the Vakyartha take place? He says that Padajnana is their individual pada. So Tat, Tom and Asi. These are three padas. Or let's take a Laukika example. Ramaha Vanam Gacchati. So Rama is what? Kartrupada. Pratama Ekavachanam. Vanam is what? He says Vanam is Napunsakalinga. Rama was Pullinga. Now you know Napunsakalinga, Vanam. And it is what? It is Dvitiya Ekvachana. Then you have this Kriya pada. Gacchati. Gacchati is what? It's a latlakara is there. Gam dhatu is there. And it is in Prathama Ekvachana. It is Vartamana Kale. So all these ideas are there. Now individual padas, you know, Ramaha. Prathama Ekvachana. Okay. Whether it's Karta or not, we don't know. Karmani Prayoga, he'll become Karma. In Karmani Prayoga, Ramaha Shabda in Prathama Ekvachana will become Karma. Gamyate. Ramaha Gamyate. May not Rama Gamyate Kena. Rama Gamyate means Rama is my destination and I reach Rama. Rama is reached by me. So Maya Ramaha Gamyate. Avagamyate, Gamyate, all these possibilities are there. I'm just saying, giving a Sandarbha here. So the idea is Ramaha Pada, just Rama Pada has some meaning. But Ramaha Gacchati, the connotation is different there. So when Pada, Vanam is there. Individual Pada, Vanam you may know. But when in association with Rama and Gacchati, there is a different meaning. Gacchati you may know. Gacchati, Yah Kaschit Gacchati, Kutra Gacchati, all that is not there. But once you put Vana there, once you put Rama there, then the meaning is different. So, Pada 1 meaning, Pada 2 meaning, and Pada 3 meanings are well known. Even if they are well known, when you put these three very same Padas in a Vakya, the meaning Vakyartha, Shabda Bodha is not Pada 1 meaning plus Pada 2 meaning plus Pada 3 meaning. It is more than that. The sum total of the meaning of the words put together in the Vakya, which turn to be Vakyartha, is always more than the sum total of the individual Pada meanings. What is that extra? He says Samsarga, Sambandha. There is always Sambandha between these words. How do they connect with each other? All these words will connect with the Kriya Pada by becoming Karakas. Then they have additional meaning. That Kriya Pada makes all the difference. Unless it should start with Kriya Pada, what is the Tatparya Vishaya there? So here he says, Jnaninarcha Vastuni Vakya Pramanya Abhyupama, that is done, closed. Now he says, Vakyasya, and what is a Vakya? Vakya is that where Kriya Pada is Pradhana. Vakyasya Kriya Pada Pradhanatvat. Tatascha Abhipreta Jnana Abhavaha. Kriya Pada is what? Kriya Pada is a verb, and Kriya Pada itself, it's a Pada regarding Kriya. So Kriya, what's karma? So indirectly is hinting that Kriya Pada Pradhanatvat. Kriya Pada always talks about Kriya. In every dhatu there is a Kriya hidden. That becomes the Kriya Pada, the verb. And the verb is actually talking about an action, karma, activity. Therefore what? Tatascha Abhipreta Jnana Abhava. Kasya Kasya Drashtya Abhipretam. Jnanabhava kasya drishtya. He says that abhipreta jnana kasya drishtya. Jnanam kasya drishtya. He says it is in the drishti of the Vedanti. That is the abhipreta jnanam. What is intended by the Vedanti jnana, this Aikya or Brahma Paravakyam, all that Tatparya Vishaya cannot be there. Abhipreta jnanasya abhavaha. There is no such jnana possible with the Vakya. Why? Because Vakya is talking about karma. How will you get jnana about this vastu? Ramaha vanam gacchati. Oh, I understand who is Rama. You cannot understand who is Rama. Just because Rama vanam gacchati, how will you understand Rama? How will you understand Vana? The Vakya Ramaha vanam gacchati has no business describing Rama, has no business describing Vana. So which pada, which jnana are you getting by Rama vanam gacchati? The only thing you are getting is Rama vanam gacchati is there is a kriya involved, gamana kriya involved. That's all. And here, unfortunately for you in this case, says the Purva Pakshi to the Siddhanti, here in Latlakara you will make some sense. Oh, I understand that Rama is going there. Some jnana regarding the kriya. At least that much you can agree. He may argue. Purva Pakshi says in Vidhiling you don't even have that option. In Vidhiling, it is do this, do that. It is a prescription. It's a vidhi or a nishedha. In such vakya, what jnana will you get? He said it's not vastu jnana. It says that do this kriya, do not do this kriya. It says do this kriya means you are supposed to do that kriya. It is kriya para, karma para. It is not vastu para at all. What jnana are you talking about? Abhipreta jnana abhav means what? Abhipretam yad jnanam tad na sambhavati ityartha. That is not possible. Abhyupagama vada which I did earlier, just to bring you to the table, but such jnana itself is not possible. Initially he said, yes, such jnana may be possible, karma can give moksha. Now he says that jnana itself is not possible. And he says that I have proved it very well. Now look at the tika. Jnaninascha, and then what? Further shloka. Viraya, is there a tika there? There's a tika. Yeah. So tika explains before introducing the shloka as to what is the sambandhokti. It is called a sambandhokti by the Granthakara. So he says jnaninascha iti jnaninaha api vastuni vakyam pramanam ityatra na vivada. So there is no argument at all. You also consider vakya as pramana. I also consider vakya as pramana. So there is no vivada there. For jnani also what? Jnani or to be jnani Vedanti vastuni atma vishaye brahma vishaye vastuni vakyam pramanam. Vakya, Veda vakya is pramana. Ityatra na vivada. Vivada nasti eva. There is no vada. Why do we discuss what we agree with? Well, let's move ahead. So he said, Tacha vakyam sati eva kriyapade nirakangsha buddhyutpadakam. Now this vakya that you agree is pramana for Vedanti, for your jnana also, that vakya, what is that vakya? Sati eva kriyapade. So those who are not used to it, you have to read it as kriyapade sati eva. Sati saptami. Sati eva kriyapade. It can go anywhere. Sati can go earlier also, later also, but to understand, when the kriyapada is there, only when the kriyapada is there. Then alone what? Kriyapade sati eva vakyam kim karoti nirakangsha buddhyutpadakam bhavati. Vakya will be making sense without any akanksha left. Nirakangsha buddhi means akanksha won't be there anymore. It will give rise to an understanding, buddhi, understanding, utpadakam, buddhi utpad, it will give rise to an understanding which is nirakangsha, which is free from akanksha, free from doubts. So it can give you knowledge which is doubtless knowledge. And what jnana is? Jnana has to be prama, it cannot be brahma. Brahma is also jnana, of course, but it is like in Rajju you see sarpa instead of Rajju. That is jnana already, but it is Brahma Rupa jnana. It is not yathartha jnana, it is ayathartha jnana. The way the vastu is, Rajju is, you don't understand it as Rajju, you understand it as Sarpa. Therefore, it is ayathartha jnana, and that is what Brahma. Although there is jnana, Sarpa jnana is there, but Sarpa is what? Is not there. Therefore, what? It is, the jnana is not hand in hand with the Rajju vastu. It differs from it. Therefore, it is ayathartha. Therefore, it is Brahma, although it is jnana. It is not Prama. Prama is in keeping with the vastu. You see Rajju as Rajju, it is Prama. Prama Rupa Jnana, Yathartha Jnana. So now he says, Taccha vakyam satyeva kriyapade nirakanksha buddhi utpadakam. Siddhanti says, okay, what's the big deal? What is your argument? He says, now look at this. Shuklam dandena gam. Iti etavan matra prayoge sati asati kriyapade nirakanksha buddhi utpatti nirakanksha buddhi utpatti adarshanat. Buddhi utpatya darshanat. He says, why? So he gives a hetu. He says, why? Because see, the words are what? Shuklam, Dandena, Gam. Gam is second case singular. So, Etavan Mat Prayoge. So there is this Shuklam, Dandena, Gam means what? Shuklam, Dandena, Gam means Dandena, with a Danda. With a Danda what? He says Gam. Which Gam? Gam means a cow. Which cow? Shuklam. So second case. Shuklam Gam Dandena. Kim? With a stick. So what is the statement? In English, how will you understand? With a stick. White cow. So white cow with a stick. What is it? What does it mean? Absolutely no meaning. He says, I'll explain. He says, Kriyapada, if it is there, then only Nirakanksha. With the Kriyapada, only Nirakanksha. Without that, he says, look at this statement, Shuklam Dandena Gam. What should anyone understand out of this? So if I say this, he says, Iti etavan matra prayoge, nothing else. You ask me, I'll not tell you. What? Nothing. Shuklam Dandena Gam. Hey, come on. Shuklam Dandena Gam. White cow with a stick. What? So many meanings are possible. Akanksha is not over. So, iti etavan matra prayoge sati asati kriyapade. Asati kriyapade nasti chet. If there is no kriyapada, nirakangsha buddhi utpatti adarshanat. There is no possibility of nirakangsha buddhi. Akanksha still remains. Evancha vedasya api kriyaparatvat. Since Veda also is committed to kriya, if the kriyapada is not there, it will not make sense. And if kriya pada is there, it is committed to kriya. Then it will make sense, but it will make sense in the context of the kriya alone, not in the context of jnana. So he says, evancha vedasya api kriya paratvat kriyayascha sadhyaika vishayatvat. And kriya is what? Kriya is always about sadhya. If you say Ramaha vanam gacchati, if the vana is, the reaching the vana is already siddha, why will Rama go? Rama goes to vana because vana, he has not attained the vana. Gamana kriya will make sense only then. That vakya makes sense only when Rama has not attained the vana. If he has already attained the vana, then gamana kriya is not needed. So gacchati means what? Gamana kriya is there. Vartamana kala. In the Vartaman Kala, Gamana Kriya is going on. Why? Because he wants to attain that Vana. For whatever reasons, good or bad, he has to attain that Vana. That is not Siddha. It is Sadhya. Kim Sadhya Matra? Reaching the Vana. Vana is Sadhya now. Vana to be reached is Sadhya. Vana is already there, all right, but reaching that Vana, that Gati, is because one has to reach there. Kriyayascha sadhyeka vishayatvat. Sadhyam ekaha vishayo yasya. Yasyaha kriyaya. Yasyaha kriya. Sa kriya what? Sadhyeka vishaya kriya. Tasyaha bhavaha sadhyeka vishayatvam. Tasmat sadhyeka vishayatvat. Because kriya has sadhya alone as vishaya, not siddha. Therefore what? Na siddha vastu paraha veda bhaga asti ityartha. So siddha vastu paraha committed to what vastu? Which vastu? Siddha. Be it anything, Brahma, Atma, whichever is siddha vastu, kriya is not committed to that. The vakya is not committed to that. Veda vakya is not committed to that. Therefore, there is no bhaga, Veda bhaga. You say, no, jnana kanda, there are such meanings. Karma kanda, let it be. Let the karma kanda vakyas be committed to karma, kriya. Let the Jnana Kanda be committed to. So, the way say, this is your territory, this is my territory. Let's both be happy. No, he says, not possible. It should be logical. He says, how can you say it? This is not, what do you say, some kind of a mediator will resolve these. That's not possible. What is mine is mine. In fact, then he says, what is yours is also mine. Karma Kanda is already mine. Now, this Jnana Kanda is also mine. Why? He says, because Siddha Vastu Paraha Veda Bhaga eva nasti. Jnana Kanda iti Veda Bhagya eva nasti. Jnana Kanda is a misnomer. Why? He says, because Jnana Kanda has Veda Vakyas. The Vakya is Kriya Pada Pradhana. It is all committed to Kriya. Then all Kriya is committed to what? He says Siddha Sadhyaika Vishaya. It is Sadhyaika Vishaya when it is all committed to Sadhya Vishaya, not Siddha Vishaya. Therefore, what there cannot be pure Jnana Kanda at all. Jnana Kanda being Vakya, Vakyatvat only. He'll say Veda Vakyatvat. Vakyatvat is sufficient. Veda Vakyatvat is not needed, but he'll say Veda Bhago Nasti. Why? Veda Vakyatvat, Vakyatvatva. Sadhyaika. So you will go back. Sadhyaika Vishayatvat. Kriyayascha. Kriya is what? Kriya commitment is from the Kriya Pada. So Vakya, Kriya Pada. Without the Kriya Pada, there is no Vakya. So Vakya is also committed toward Kriya, Karma. And Vakya or Veda also being Vakya. Therefore, Veda Vakya being Vakya has Kriya Pada, which is committed to Kriya. And that Kriya cannot be in Siddha Vastu. It cannot be Siddha Vastu Para. It is Sadhya Vastu Para. Therefore, Siddha Vastu Para Veda Bhaga Nasti eva. He concludes. This argument he concludes. He is finally going to conclude his entire Paksha. Padarthanam Swarupena Pramanantara Siddhatvat Shrotrunam Tavanmatra Pratipatte Padanam Prayoga Ayogat Samsarga Bodhaya Tesham Prayoga Abhyupeha. So what I explained earlier, he says what? Padarthanam Swarupena Pramanantara Siddhatvat. This is another argument he brings in to establish that they are Kriyapara. Padartha are what? Any Padartha, Ghata. So let's say Ghata Padartha. How do you know Ghata? How do you know Ghata? That Ghata exists. Yeah, I see. What if I close your eyes? Do you know? Yes. How? He says with Sparsha. Sparshendriya, Twagendriya. So I can touch and know. If I know the Ghata, I don't need to see. If I touch, oh, that's why they have a game. So you have to understand what it is. Or what they say, hit the donkey or draw a tail or whatever, So you know what it is. You can use other indriyas to understand. Not all. There should be yogyata. Not all indriyas work towards everything. So sankhya can be known. Sankhya also. When you count, you can count with your eyes. You're looking at eyes. How many pieces are there? You can count with sparsha also. So whatever is already existent, there are pratyaksha works there. What is already siddha, pratyaksha is a pramana. Shabda, you don't need shabda vakya there. So that's why we have this anuvada also, where Shruti says something you already know. If the Shruti says, what Agni Himasya Bheshajam. So you feel cold in winter. So Shruti says, oh, you light a fire. So what is the solution? You search the Vedas, and the Vedas say that you light a fire if you are feeling cold. As if I didn't know. Did I not know this? That fire is going to keep me warm from the cold. I already know it. Pratyaksha pramana. I have burnt my fingers many a time. I don't need Shruti to tell me that you will be kept warm by something which can burn you. It will keep you warm. I already know this. So Shruti is just doing anuvada. It's doing anuvada. Just repeating something. There it is not pramana, really. So ghatapatadi padarthas which are already siddha, for that Shruti does not need to tell me that, this is Agni, this is Ghata, this is Pata. I already know it. Pratyaksha is pramana there. So pramanantaram means anya pramanam. Anyat pramanam pramanantaram. So padarthanam swarupena pramanantara siddhat. That is the swarupa of the padartha. If the padartha already exists, then it can be known through other pramanas. So if it can be known through other pramana, their Veda is not pramana. Shrotrunam tavan matra pratipatte. And if the Shruti talks about such things only, it talks about Siddha Vastu, Padartha, Brahma, Atma, all of these are what Siddha Vastu, like Ghatapatadi. So if Ghatapatadi are Anya Pramana Gochara, Pramanantara Gochara, why? Siddhatvat, Siddha Vastutvat, Tesham. Ghadapatadinam. Then Brahma also what? Siddha Vastu. Being Siddha Vastu, that will also be, Brahma also will be Pramanantara Gochara. Pramanantara Siddha. So there is a Vyapti there. Wherever there is a, it's a Padartha Swarup, Pramanantara Bodhya. Siddha Vastu. Yatra yatra Siddha Vastutvam, tatra tatra Pramanantara Gocharatvam. That is a Vyapti he is using. Now, if there is Padartha like Brahma, which is Siddha Vastu, which is, he does not say Brahma is not there. He says Brahma is there, which is Siddha Vastu. Now, Shruti talking about this makes no sense. If it says Tavan Matra Pratipattaye, if the Shruti talks about this this Padartha called Brahma, which is Siddha, then Shrotrunam, those who are listening, Shrotrunam Tavan Matra Pratipattaye, if they understand only this Brahma as a Siddha Vastu, then Padanam Prayoga Yogat. Then the Padas in the Vakya make no sense, because I already told you that Pada, he says that they cannot be Siddha Vastu Para. Why? Because he says now the Padas are committed only to Siddha Vastu. If you put them together in the Vakya, then such Prayoga makes no sense. Meaning is always more than the sum total of Padas. So now how will they come together in the Vakya and make sense? They won't. So he says Prayoga Yoga. Padanam Tavan Matra Pratipatte Padanam Prayoga Yogat. It makes no sense to make such a usage of words like what this Shuklam Dandena Gam. You know what Shukla is, Danda is, Gam is. What do you know now? Without the Kriya Pada, you know nothing. And with the Kriya Pada, something else. So Anaya. Adhyara is what? Anaya. Bring the white cow with a stick. So generally, you don't need to, should not beat the cow with a stick and all that. That is himsa. In fact, especially Go Mata. So with the stick, she's a little scared. So she obeys. That's the idea there. So she'll not be, running like a wild animal, but she'll remain like a domesticated cow. So you bring, and the stick is also to scare away other things or remove something so that the cow can easily walk by. So that is the idea, but Anaya is the Adhyara. You have to understand Anaya. Without the Anaya, it makes no sense. Bring the cow, white cow with the stick. That's the idea here. So without the Kriya Pada, it makes no sense. Kriya Pada put in together, now there is additional information. What is that? He's saying that here. Padanam Tavan Matra Pratipatte Padanam Prayoga Yogat Sansarga Bodhaya Tesham Prayoga Abhyupeha. You have to accept that the Padas are used which are already having known meaning. Pada meaning should be known. You know what this Tat means, Tvam means, Asi means. But when they come together, there's a different meaning. So here also, Rama Vanam Gacchati But when they put together, additional meaning. What is that? He says, Sansarga Bodhaya Tesham Prayoga Abhyupeya. You have to accept that the Padas have been used in a Vakya because they want you to, the Vivaksha of the Vakta wants you to know there is a Sambandha between these Padas. Sansarga Bodha. You already know the Padas, but now here in this setup, what is the connection of these words with each other? That is the Tatparya there. Not the words. Words you already know. But how these words come together, that is the idea there. So, Samsarga Bodhaya Tesham Kesham Padanam Prayogaha Abhyupeyaha. You have to accept. What is this Samsarga? Sambandha. Samsarga means Sambandha. Connection. Sacha Samsargaha Karakanam Na Kriyam Vina iti Sarvapadanam Karyanvite Shaktirityaha Virayya iti. So he says, now this Samsarga, what about this Samsarga connection? Let it be, if the Purva Pakshi takes this argument from the Siddhanti, so let it be so what? He says, such a Samsarga, that connection between words, Karakanam na Kriyam vina, Karakanam, such a Samsarga, Kesham Karakanam Samsarga. The Karaka is what? They become the Karana for Kriya to be successful. Kriya Nishpatti Artham eva Karakam. So, Kriya is possible with the Karakas. And the Kriya will tell you the Samsarga now. This Kriya Pada, Kriyam vina na sambhavati. Kriya Pada should be there. With the Kriya Pada, there is Sambandha. So, Ramaha Vanam. So you cannot ask Akanksha. Rama Vanam. There is no Akanksha possible. Rama is first case singular Pullinga. Vanam is second case singular Napunsakalinga. What about them? If you just say Rama Vanam, Rama Vanam Kim, the Akanksha is also not Rama Vanam Kim. So somebody will say Rama Ayodhya. Makes no sense. Rama Vanam Kim, Rama Dasharatha, Putra. You keep on uttering words, blabbering it. It absolutely makes no sense. They'll say you'll need a doctor. So here it says Kriyam Vina Sarvapadanam Karyanvite Shaktir Ityaha. So you can't just blabber words without any connection. It's Kriya Pada is named. Kriya Pada has a Kriya and Kriyam Vina Karakanam Samsargaha Sarvapadanam Karyanvite Vina iti. No. Vina na sambhavati. That samsarga, sambandha is not possible without the kriya. And if the kriya is there, then all the karakas will connect with the kriya, not with each other. Dashrathasya putraha Ramaha vanam gacchati, when you say, then Dashrathasya putraha, that Shashti is different. That is not a karaka. But you have putraha Ramaha vanam. They all correct with gacchati. You can say putra gacchati, Ramaha gacchati, vanam gacchati. They all have anvaya with the kriya pada. Dashrathasya gacchati is not at all possible. Dashrathasya putraha is the anvaya. That is why sambandhe shashti. But gacchati means ka gacchati, Rama gacchati. Vasa Rama, Kidrisha Ramaha, Veeraha Ramaha, Putra Rama, ityadi. All Visheshanas will go there. So putra gacchati, Veeraha gacchati, Rama gacchati. All have anvayas with the kriya pada. Kutra gacchati, vanam gacchati. So all padas connect with kriya. So karya sarvapadanam karyanvite shakti. They are all connected with this kriya pada, which tells you this karma. Gamana kriya, that is the karya. So karyanvite shakti, all shakti to do bodhana, what karma is going on, what karma should take place, what you should be doing, all that is connection with the kriya pada of the karakas. Only then with the karma in mind alone it will work. Therefore he says what? Virayya iti. Let's look at the shloka. Virayya kriyam naiva samhanyante padanyapi na samastya padam vakyam yatsya vidhayakam. So virayya kriyam na eva samhanyante padani api na samasti apadam vakyam yat syat vidiling jnana vidhayakam. Single word. So padani api na eva samhanyante. Samhanyante, there is a tippana there. Na samhanyante means what? Anvaya bodha janaka vakya ghatakatam na labante iti bhava. Very technical use here. It's a little tricky. We'll see more in the next part here. But Anvaya bodha janaka vakya ghatakatam na labante. Na labante. Na samyante means na labante. They don't attain. Who are those padas? Padani na labante. What do they not attain? What do they not get? Ghatakatam. What is ghatakatam? Ghatakatvam. Ghataka is nullanta, so it's a kartari. So vakya ghatakatam. And what is that vakya? Anvaya bodha janaka vakya ghatakatam. So that which makes sense of the vakya. What makes sense of the vakya? Sansarga ityartha. Anvaya is samsarga, sambandha. I'll do the anvaya means what? I'll show the sambandha of the words. So you rearrange the words so that sambandha is known. So anvaya bodha janaka, bodha jnana janaka. So that which makes this understanding possible. Janaka vakya ghatakatam. And it also makes the vakya make sense. Ghataka, vakya comes to life. You know, it shines forth. How? This anvaya bodha janaka. With the sambandha alone, the vakya will make sense. So that padani na labante. Padas do not get this kind of a ghatakatva, vakya ghatakatva, so that padas coming together. Like what? Shuklam dandena gam. Vakya ghatakatam. Padas are there. Shuklam is there. Dandena is there and gam is also there. Padani na labante. Kim na labante? Anvaya bodha janaka vakya ghatakatam na labante. There is no anvaya bodha possible there. What is the connection of the shuklam with the gam? You say, okay, visheshana vishesha bhava. Okay. What about this dandena? Na janami. Katra vivaksha na janami. What are you trying to say? I don't understand. Dandena gam. Shuklam dandena gam. Makes no sense. Anvaya bodha janakatvam is not there. And that is the karana for what is janakatva? Janaka vakya ghatakatam. Vakya, it cannot, without the Anvaya Bodha being born, Sambandha, Vakya meaning will not be understood. So he says, Padani, if you give Padas also, just keep on randomly giving some Padas in all sorts of cases and don't give the Kriya Pada, Kriyam Vina, Padani api na samhanjit, na eva samhante. How Kriyam Viraya. Viraya means giving up the Kriya. You set aside the Kriya. Oh, Kriya is this Jnana Para, I don't want Kriya. Then they'll not make sense. And apadam vakyam, without the pada in the Vakya, na samasti. Yat syat, Jnana Vidhayakam na syat. Yat means there's Akshepa here. Meaning it's a, what do you say, Akshepartha. Yat syat. Apadam vakyam yat jnana vidayakam syat na samasti. That's not possible. Samyak nasti. Samasti means what? Na samyak nasti. It is not possible. Apadam vakyam yat jnana vidayakam syat. Yat apadam vakyam jnana vidayakam syat tanna samasti. That is not possible. Any apada vakya which will be jnana vidayakam, which will give you, vidaya, do this, understand this, jnana vidayakam, bodha janakatvam. That is not there. Any vakya which is apadam, he says, apadam. We'll see more in the tika, but here currently he say, na samasti, it is not right. Why? Because padani api kriyam vina, kriyam viraya na samhanyante, na labante. They do not attain this vakya bodha janakatvam. This is not possible. Or Anvaya Bodha Janaka Vakya Ghatakatvam is not possible. So Kriya is needed. Basically what? Kriya is needed. We'll see more in the next part, with what? With the Tika here. Yeah, no. Yat Sakshat Sachidanandam Pratyagadvayam Akriyam Tannamami Nirasya Yogi Gamyam Parampadam. Any questions? Anyone? I'll see you in the next part. Namaste.